freeze. Don't send that text. Don't sign that paper. Don't you dare walk out that door. I know every fiber of your being is screaming at you to run, to pivot, to abandon the post you've been holding for years. But you need to listen to the sound of my voice right now like your entire destiny depends on it, because it does. You didn't click on this by accident. In the vast, chaotic digital ocean of 2026, the algorithm didn't bring you here. A divine interception did. You are standing at a literal crossroads in your life, perhaps on a quiet suburban street in Ohio, or looking out at the neon lights of the Vegas Strip, feeling a vibration in your chest that you've been calling anxiety. But I'm here to tell you that what you're feeling isn't a panic attack. It's the pressure of an approach. Something massive, something life-altering is navigating the spiritual highway at 90 miles per hour. And it has your exact GPS coordinates locked in. If you move now, you're not just changing your mind. You're stepping out of the way of a collision that was designed to change your family tree forever. Imagine you are 35 years old, standing in the middle of a high-rise apartment in Chicago. You've worked the corporate grind. You've prayed until your voice went hoarse. And yet, as you look at your bank account and your empty living room, all you see is a flat line. You see stagnation. You see a dead end. But where you see a wall, the universe sees a strategic staging ground. We have this American obsession with hustle, the idea that if things aren't moving, we have to force them. We think that if the breakthrough hasn't arrived by the time we're 30, we've missed the boat. So, we start pacing. We start looking for the exit sign. We think, maybe if I move to Austin, or maybe if I quit this project, or maybe if I just ghost this situation, the pressure will stop. But that pressure is the displacement of the atmosphere. Think about it like this. Have you ever stood on a train platform in New York City? Minutes before the express train actually screams into the station, you feel the wind. You feel the dust kick up. You feel the heavy, invisible wall of air pushing against your face. That air isn't the train, but it is the proof of the train. Right now, in your life, the spiritual pressure you feel, that restlessness that makes your skin crawl, is the air being pushed ahead of your blessing. It's so close that it's already altering the environment around you. If you jump off the platform now because the wind is too uncomfortable, you will miss the ride that was supposed to take you to your ultimate destination. You are in what we call a divine positioning. In the ancient texts, there's a command that most Americans hate because it goes against our get-it-done DNA. Stand still. It doesn't say, figure it out. It doesn't say, run a marathon to prove your worth. It says, stand. You've been measuring your success in inches and dollars, but God is measuring it in alignment. You are currently being held in a holding pattern over JFK Airport, not because the pilot is lost, but because the runway is being cleared of the debris that would have crashed your landing 6 months ago. You've spent years praying for a shift, and now that the shift is literally inches from your front door, the enemy is trying to trick you into a false move. It's a classic bait and switch. If he can get you to move 10 feet to the left, he can make you invisible to the delivery drivers of destiny who are currently scanning your zip code for your light. You've looked at your reality and called it a failure. You see a 1,200 square foot house that feels like a prison. You see a job that feels like a loop. You see a relationship that feels like a desert. But I am telling you, the delivery is in transit. You need to be home to sign for it. You wouldn't order a $5,000 MacBook Pro and then decide to go for a random drive the moment the delivery truck turns into your neighborhood, would you? Of course not. You'd stay put. You'd keep your eyes on the porch. That is exactly where you are spiritually. The courier is on your street. They are navigating the unseen traffic of spiritual warfare, pushing through the delays and the blockades that have tried to stop them since the day you first uttered that prayer back in 2022. The reason this moment is so intense is because your intuition has been whispering to you all week that something is different. You've felt a strange expectation, a sense that you need to check your phone, or a feeling that a door is about to open. This isn't your imagination. It's your internal radar picking up a signal from the spiritual realm. In the United States, we are taught to trust only what we can see on a spreadsheet or a screen. But the most important movements in your life are happening in the frequencies you can't see. There are travelers of destiny, helpers, mentors, investors, even literal angels who have been commissioned to find you. They aren't looking for your social security number. They are looking for your spiritual frequency. But here is the catch, and this is why you cannot afford to stop watching this. Most people fail at this exact moment because they don't understand how the beacon works. They think that as long as they are busy, they are ready. But busy creates static. Anxiety creates a flicker. If your spirit is a lighthouse on the California coast, and the ship carrying your future is trying to dock, it needs a steady, unwavering beam to guide it through the fog. If you are pacing, crying, and doubting, your light is jumping all over the place. To the approaching blessing, you don't look like a harbor, you look like a storm. And no captain in their right mind docks in a storm. You have to anchor your soul. You have to take a deep spiritual breath and realize that your stillness is actually your greatest weapon. Every time you refuse to give in to that urge to quit, you are strengthening your signal. Every time you say, "I don't see it yet, but I know it's here," you are clearing the fog for that ship to come in. You've been trying to be the architect, the contractor, and the laborer of your own life, and you're exhausted. You were never meant to build it all alone. The reinforcements are coming. I'm talking about a financial breakthrough that can wipe out 20 years of debt in 24 hours. I'm talking about a connection that bypasses 10 years of climbing the ladder. It's all moving toward you right now, but the arrival is dependent on your ability to hold the line. You might be asking, but who are they? Who is coming to save me? And why does it feel like the world is ending right before they arrive? The answer to that is going to send shivers down your spine, because the enemy knows the exact moment the exchange is supposed to happen. He knows the ship is just outside the harbor. And since he can't stop the ship, he's going to try to burn down the lighthouse. This is the most dangerous part of the journey, the final mile. Before the authentic arrives, a counterfeit will always try to take its place. If you don't know how to spot the difference between the miracle and the trap, you might open your door to a thief while your Savior is still standing at the gate. As we move deeper into this, I'm going to show you exactly how to identify these false fires and why the sudden appearance of an old flame or a too-good-to-be-true job offer is actually the biggest warning sign that your real breakthrough is seconds away. But here's the million-dollar question keeping you up at 2 a.m. in that cold studio apartment. Who exactly is on that ship? Who are these travelers of destiny I keep talking about? And why has the universe hit the emergency brake on your entire life just to make sure you're standing right here, right now, watching this screen? Lean in, because the answer is about to vibrate through your very bones, confirming every gut feeling you've tried to ignore all week. You aren't just waiting for an event. You are waiting for an encounter. In the celestial blueprints of your life, we call them the couriers, specialized destiny helpers, sent on a high-stakes assignment. You've been trying to build your American dream with your own two bare hands, haven't you? You've been the architect, the plumber, the financier, and the janitor of your own soul. You're 38 years old, exhausted, wondering why the 80-hour work week and the constant grind haven't bought you the peace you were promised. But the ancient wisdom of Hebrews 1:14 breaks the matrix. Are they not all ministering spirits, sent forth to minister for those who will inherit salvation? Translated into the language of 2026, heaven is sending you reinforcements, and they aren't coming empty-handed. Imagine you're a tech founder in Silicon Valley, or a single parent in the suburbs of Atlanta. You've reached the end of your rope. You've looked at the debt, the loneliness, the stagnant career, and you've concluded that you're alone in the fight. But right now, as you listen to this, there are specific individuals navigating the spiritual traffic of your city. These aren't just random people passing by. They are key holders. Think about the doors in your life that have been welded shut for years, the ones no amount of networking or hustling could budge. One of these travelers is carrying a legal document, a contract, or a random phone call that has the power to liquidate 10 years of student loans in a single afternoon. Another might be the mentor you've never met, someone holding 30 years of wisdom in their pocket, ready to hand you the cheat code for your industry. Or maybe it's a future spouse who is currently being redirected by a series of coincidences just to cross your path at a Starbucks in Brooklyn. They are fighting through unseen warfare, pushing past the spiritual blockades and the distractions of a noisy world, just to reach your specific coordinates. Think back over the last 72 hours. Have you felt that sudden, unexplained surge of expectation? That weird, tingly sensation in your chest that made you look toward the door even though nobody was there? Have you felt a sudden urge to check an old email or a feeling like someone you haven't talked to in a decade is suddenly thinking about you? That is not coincidence. That is the spiritual vibration of their approach. They are entering your zip code in the spirit realm. They are literally blocks away from your reality. But here is the critical glitch in the system. And this is why you need to pay very close attention to what I'm about to say. These travelers don't use Google Maps. They don't find you by your house number or your social media handle. They find you by your beacon. And right now, the signal you're broadcasting might be making you completely invisible to the very people sent to save you. Picture your spirit as a massive lighthouse standing on the rugged, foggy cliffs of the Pacific Northwest. Out there, in the dark, churning waters of the ocean, the ship of destiny is searching for a place to dock. When you are grounded, when you are standing still in a state of knowing, your light is a steady, piercing laser beam that cuts through the thickest fog for 50 miles. The captain sees you clearly. The delivery is certain. But when you fall into that American trap of, I have to make something happen right now, when you start pacing back and forth in a fever of anxiety, your light begins to flicker. It becomes chaotic. It moves wildly, splashing light in every direction but the right one. To the approaching blessing, you don't look like a safe harbor anymore. You look like a flickering glitch. You look like a storm. And a ship carrying $1 billion cargo will never attempt to dock in a storm. It will circle the harbor, waiting for the light to stabilize. This is why the old texts in Habakkuk say, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come." In our modern culture, we think waiting is a passive, weak thing. We think it means sitting on the porch like a victim. But in the spirit, wait is a high-level active verb. It means keep the light steady. Every time you jump on social media to compare your life to someone else's, you dim the light. Every time you pick up the phone to complain to a friend about how nothing ever works out, you turn the light off. I know you're tired. I know the fatigue of 2025 has followed you into this year like a heavy shadow. But that exhaustion, it's actually a sign that the shift is imminent. It takes an incredible amount of power to maintain a light in a dark world. And the fact that you're feeling the drain means the ship is already in the harbor. The captain is looking for your signal right now. I want you to do something with me, right where you are. You don't need to move a muscle in the physical world. Just close your eyes for 3 seconds or fix your gaze on one spot. Visualize your feet. Imagine that from the soles of your shoes, deep, golden roots of light are screaming down into the bedrock of the earth. You are becoming heavy. You are becoming solid. You are becoming unmovable. You aren't a leaf being blown by the wind of inflation or bad news or rejection. You are a monument. Now, imagine a pillar of light shooting straight out of your chest, hitting the atmosphere with the force of 1,000 suns. That is your signal. That is you shouting to the travelers, I am here. I am positioned. My dock is ready. Psalm 46:10 gives us the master key. Be still and know that I am God. Most people try to know while they are running. They want the answer while they are in the middle of a panic attack. But the knowing only comes after the stillness. Once you stabilize your frequency, the connection becomes instant. The resources find your bank account. The right person finds your path. The travelers lock onto your coordinates. and the arrival becomes inevitable. But you have to be warned, because the moment you stabilize that light, you become a target for the greatest deception you have ever faced. The enemy knows the ship is almost at your dock. He can see the gold on the deck. He can see the keys in the traveler's hand. He knows he can't stop the ship, so he's going to try to trick you into leaving the lighthouse altogether. He's lighting fires on the neighboring hills, creating false doors and shiny, urgent opportunities that look exactly like what you've been praying for. He wants you to chase a decoy so that when your real destiny arrives, your harbor is empty. If you fall for this trap, the regret won't just last a week. It could sideline you for years. You are standing on the razor's edge of a breakthrough, and this is exactly why the air around you has become so deceptive. You need to know how to spot the counterfeit before you sign your name to a disaster. Wait, did you hear that? The sound of the wind shifting? Because right as we speak, those false fires are being lit. If you don't know the specific spiritual scent of a trap, you might walk right into a good thing and completely miss the God thing that was supposed to happen 5 minutes later. Imagine you're standing on a busy street corner in Manhattan. Or maybe you're staring out at the vast, dusty plains of Texas. You've been waiting for a sign, a break, a literal miracle to change the trajectory of your life. And suddenly, just as you've committed to the stillness we talked about, your phone vibrates. It's a text from an ex you haven't thought about since 2019. Or maybe an investment opportunity lands in your DMs, promising to double your savings in 48 hours. On the surface, it looks like a lifeline. It looks like the answer. But I'm here to tell you, don't move. We are entering the most treacherous phase of your journey, what I call the zone of the counterfeit. You see, the spiritual law of arrival states that the fake always shows up approximately 5 minutes before the authentic. The enemy isn't original. He's a thief who studies your schedule. He knows that the real God-sent relationship, the $100,000 career breakthrough, or the healing you've been begging for, is currently crossing the state line into your life. Since he can't stop the delivery truck, his only move is to get you to sign for a package of bricks before the gold arrives. He wants you to fill the vacancy of your life with good, so you have no room left for great. In America, we are conditioned to believe that busy is a virtue and waiting is a failure. So when a door opens, any door, we bolt through it because we're terrified of scarcity. We think, well, I've been single for 3 years. Maybe this toxic ex is the best I can do. Or, this job offer feels wrong in my gut, but the salary is 10% higher, so I have to take it. This is the trap of the counterfeit door. It's designed to lure you out of your lighthouse's right when your destiny helpers are pulling into the driveway. Think about it. If you fill your warehouse with cheap plywood just because you were impatient, where are you going to put the mahogany when it shows up 10 minutes later? You will have blocked your own blessing by settling for a decoy. The scripture in 2 Corinthians 11:14 gives us a chilling warning. Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light. He doesn't come to you in a red suit. with a pitchfork in a dark alley in Chicago. No, he comes looking like the answer to your 3 a.m. prayers. He comes as a relief to the pressure. He offers you a quick fix to your debt or a shortcut to your dreams. But there is a specific spiritual scent that distinguishes the test from the testimony. And if you sharpen your discernment right now, you can smell it a mile away. Proverbs 10:22 says, "The blessing of the Lord brings wealth, and he adds no sorrow with it." That is your North Star. A counterfeit always rushes you. It screams, "You have to decide by midnight, or the deal is off." It plays on your FOMO, your fear of being left behind. It feels like a frantic heartbeat, a tightening in your chest, a desperate compulsion to grab it before it vanishes. That's the scent of the enemy. The authentic blessing, however, carries the weight of peace. It respects your spirit. It doesn't ask you to sell your soul or compromise your integrity to possess it. If you feel rushed, pressured, or greasy about an opportunity, that is not God. That is a trap designed to derail your entire season. To understand how catastrophic it is to open the wrong door, we have to look at a classic American-style tragedy found in the story of King Saul. Think of Saul as a high-level CEO or a military commander who was told to wait 7 days for his instructions. Not 7 years, just 1 week. Saul waited until the 167th hour. But as the clock ticked down on that 7th day, the pressure became unbearable. His employees were quitting, the competition was closing in, and his stock price was crashing. Fear whispered to him, "The expert isn't coming. You're on your own. You have to pivot now, or lose everything." So, Saul broke. He stepped out of his lane and performed a ritual he wasn't authorized to do, just to feel like he was doing something. And here is the part that should haunt you. The very second he finished his shortcut, the expert walked up the hill. If Saul had waited just 30 more minutes, just one more cup of coffee, he would have seen the solution walking toward him. Because he moved out of alignment in the final seconds of the test, he lost his legacy. He didn't lose it because he was evil. He lost it because he was impatient. He reacted to the market pressure instead of responding to the promise. You are currently in your 7th day. The pressure in your life right now is at an all-time high. Your bank account might be looking like a disaster zone, and your friends might be calling you crazy for holding on. The silence from heaven feels deafening. But I am telling you, your Samuel is walking up the hill. Your breakthrough is literally within the borders of your zip code. Do not be like Saul. Do not sacrifice your destiny on the altar of panic just to relieve the anxiety of this moment. If you force a door open now, you risk entering what we call an Ishmael season, where you have to spend the next 5 years of your life working twice as hard to maintain a blessing that God never gave you. That is a burden that will drain your bank account, your health, and your joy. You might feel empty right now, looking at your life and seeing a void where a career or a family should be. But that emptiness isn't abandonment. It's the vacuum law in operation. Before a builder installs marble countertops and gold fixtures in a luxury home in Beverly Hills, He has to gut the house. He has to rip out the moldy carpet and the old wallpaper. The emptiness you feel is just the demolition phase of your renovation. God is clearing the room because the new wine He's pouring into your life is too powerful for your old wineskin. He removed those toxic friends and those dead-end jobs because He's creating a suction force that will pull in the massive blessing that's currently in transit. Stop trying to fill the void with noise. Stop scrolling through Instagram at 4 a.m. to numb the silence of your apartment. Stop calling people who don't even like you just to hear a human voice. Respect the vacuum. I want you to visualize the empty space in your life, not as a lack, but as a pristine, white landing strip. It's clean, it's vast, and it's waiting for a heavy-duty cargo plane from the kingdom to touch down. Every time you feel that ache of waiting, tell yourself, "This is my capacity increasing. My runway is getting longer because the plane coming in is huge." But here's the secret no one tells you about the waiting room. Waiting isn't passive. It's a specialized form of shadow work. While your outer world looks like a stagnant pond, your inner world needs to be a roaring engine of preparation. If you don't complete the secret internal protocol during this silence, the travelers will arrive. Take one look at your spirit and keep driving because you won't have the internal infrastructure to handle the weight of what they're bringing. You're about to enter a 72-hour mental fast that will determine whether that plane lands or crashes. And it all starts with how you're broadcasting your signal to the heavens. You've cleared the deck. You've spotted the counterfeits. But as you sit there in the quiet of your living room, maybe staring out at the rain hitting a window in Seattle or watching the sunset over the Arizona desert, you still feel it, that heavy, invisible anchor dragging behind your heels. You're doing the work. You're saying the affirmations, yet you feel like you're running through waist-deep water. This is where we have to go beneath the surface, past the psychology, and into the basement of your bloodline. There is a hidden tether you cannot see with your physical eyes, but your soul feels its tension every single day. It's what I call the ancestral anchor, and if we don't sever it right now, you will spend the rest of your life watching your ship sit just 10 yards off the coast, unable to dock. In America, we like to think we are entirely self-made. We think we start with a blank slate. But the spiritual reality is that you are the final frontier for your family's history. I want you to look back at your family tree, not with judgment, but like a private investigator. Look at your father, your grandfather, the aunts and uncles who lived in the small towns of the Midwest or the crowded streets of Boston. Do you see the pattern? The pattern of almost wealthy, but then the business collapsed. Almost happy, but then the divorce papers were served. A history of moving from city to city, relationship to relationship, job to job, always searching for a peace they never found. This is what the ancient prophets called the wandering spirit. It's a spiritual pathology where the DNA of restlessness is passed down like a genetic disease. It compels you to run right when you're about to succeed, It whispers that safety is in the movement. But the truth is, your safety is in your positioning. You're feeling the urge to quit or move right now, not because you're weak, but because your cellular memory is replaying the failures of your ancestors. You are carrying the accumulated fatigue of generations who missed their own destiny. But listen to me. The buck stops with you. You are the cycle breaker. You were chosen to stand still in 2026 and declare that the running ends here. Your children will not be wanderers. They will be builders. I want you to perform a spiritual surgery with me. Visualize a thick, heavy, gray cord attached to your ankles, extending back into the shadows of the past. That cord is the compulsion to flee. In your mind, grab a sword made of pure fire, the sword of your decision. On the count of 3, swing it and sever that tether. 1, 2, 3. Cut it. Watch it snap back into the darkness. Feel that weight lift off your feet. You are no longer tethered to the almost of your fathers. You are free to possess the all of your future. Now that the cord is cut, your body is going to start reacting. In fact, your body has been trying to warn you about this shift for weeks through a language we call somatic decoding. You thought it was just the stress of the economy or too much caffeine, but your body is actually a high-precision spiritual radar system. Have you been waking up suddenly between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m.? No alarm clock? Just your eyes snapping open? Fully alert? Feeling like you forgot to do something? In the realm of the spirit, that's the watchman's hour. It's the time when the world is quiet and the veil is thin. God wakes you up at 3 a.m. because He's trying to download the blueprints for the blessing that's coming. But because you didn't know how to decode the signal, you just rolled over and checked your Instagram. Or maybe you've felt that high-pitched ringing in your right ear. In the school of the Spirit, that's often a confirmation signal, a sign that your name is being mentioned in rooms you haven't even entered yet. Conversely, a sudden drop in pressure or a dull heat in your left ear can be a warning that a monitoring spirit is gossiping about your progress. These chills, these sudden bursts of heat behind your neck, the heaviness in your chest that disappears as quickly as it came, these are the spiritual collisions I told you about. The travelers are getting close, and your physical vessel is picking up their vibration. You aren't losing your mind. You're gaining your sight. I can feel the relief washing over you as you hear this. It feels good to have a name for the pain, doesn't it? It feels good to know you aren't crazy, but I have to stop you right there. Do not get comfortable in this relief. This is what we call the false summit. Imagine climbing the Rocky Mountains, thinking you've reached the peak, only to realize it was just a ridge, and the real mountain is still towering above you. Understanding the symptom isn't the same as curing the disease. We've identified the wandering spirit, and we've decoded your body's radar, but we haven't yet removed the hook that allowed the enemy to attach to you in the first place. The relief you feel is dangerous because it makes you lower your guard. The enemy is watching you right now. He sees you cutting the ancestral cord. He knows he's lost the element of surprise. So, he is about to play his final, most desperate card. He is shifting from deception to direct assault. He's deploying the spirit of delay, a heavy, suffocating force designed to make the last mile of your marathon feel like walking through quicksand. We are no longer in the preparation phase. We are moving into warfare mode. Wipe your eyes, soldier. This isn't the time to cry about the past. It's the time to war for your future. You need to understand that delay isn't just a concept. It's an intelligent entity sent to wear you down until you forfeit your own prize. The reason you've been waiting so long isn't because God is deaf or your prayers were weak. It's because of a spiritual blockade, just like in the ancient stories where an answer was sent on day 1 but took 21 days to arrive because of a prince blocking the airwaves. Your blessing has been dispatched. The contract is signed. The person is willing. The money is allocated. But the spirit of delay has set up a perimeter around your life. He's causing miscommunications, lost paperwork, and unexplained technical glitches. He wants you to think God said no, when God actually shouted yes. You don't need more patience right now. You need spiritual violence. The kingdom of heaven is taken by force. You have to break this blockade. You have to clear the airspace over your destiny. We are going to issue a command of clearance. I want you to build up a roar inside your chest, not a scream of fear, but a roar of authority. Visualize a massive, 10-foot thick wall of glass standing between you and your breakthrough. That is the wall of delay. On the count of 3, I want you to release a mental command from your gut. Move. 1, 2, 3. Move. Shatter that glass with the frequency of your power. Watch the shards fall. Command the prince of delay to loose his grip on your bank account. Command him to step aside from your career path. You are a chosen one. You carry the seal of the king. The enemy has no legal right to hold your property once you demand its release. And as you stand in the wreckage of that blockade, looking at the clear path you just created, you need to be ready for the flood. Because when a dam breaks, the water doesn't just trickle, it explodes. You are about to enter a convergence event where time itself begins to bend, and everything you've waited a decade for is about to happen in a single weekend. But you must be prepared for the weight of the win, because what's coming next is going to require a version of you that you haven't even met yet. The blockade is smashed. The glass is shattered. Now, I need you to brace yourself, because you are entering the convergence zone. This is where spiritual physics takes over. When a dam that has been holding back years of prayers finally bursts, the water doesn't just trickle into your life, it floods. You are about to experience a supernatural overlapping of seasons that will make your head spin. In the States, we're taught that life is a slow, linear crawl. You go to school, you get the entry-level job, you save for 30 years, and then maybe you relax. But the universe operates on the law of multiplication. The prophet Amos described this exact moment. The days are coming when the plowman shall overtake the reaper. Translated for you right now. Your harvest is going to come so fast that the person planting the seeds is going to bump into the person gathering the fruit. You'll still be hitting send on the follow-up email for an interview when the HR director calls you to offer a VP position. You'll be looking at a fixer-upper in a small town in Tennessee, and suddenly the keys to a luxury estate are placed in your hand through a connection you haven't even made yet. This is the end of addition and the beginning of exponential growth. You'll know the convergence has started by the sheer intensity of the synchronicities. You'll think of a mentor you haven't seen since you lived in Chicago 10 years ago, and they'll call your cell phone 10 minutes later. You'll ask for a sign, something specific, like the number 777, and you'll see it on 3 different license plates during your commute home from work. These aren't coincidences. They are the footsteps of the travelers. They've broken through the enemy's line. They are in your immediate vicinity. The people who ignored your LinkedIn messages for years will suddenly reach out. The doors that were welded shut since the 2008 crash are going to swing open as if they were never locked. But God isn't just giving you what you asked for. That would be too small. Because you stood your ground when the false fires tried to lure you away, because you cleared your mental runway and refused to settle for the Ishmael, the judge of the universe is invoking a divine statute of compensation. It's time for your double portion. You might feel like you're behind in life. You're 42, looking at your peers on social media who seem miles ahead with their perfect houses and their booming portfolios. You feel like you've wasted years fighting invisible battles that no one else had to face. But those years weren't wasted. They were invested. And today is the maturation date of that investment. Isaiah 61:7 is your new legal decree. Instead of your shame, you shall have double honor. In their land they shall possess double. Everlasting joy shall be theirs. If you were rejected by one company, God is sending 2 acceptances. If you lost $50,000 in a bad deal, the restoration will be $100,000. This isn't just about getting back to zero. This is about surplus. This is about punitive damages being paid out by the kingdom of darkness for every second it delayed your joy. You are about to walk into a season so big that you'll actually have to apologize to the universe for ever doubting the plan. You'll look at the magnitude of the favor and say, "This is too much." And the Spirit will reply, "This is what you were always worth." You aren't a victim of your history. You are a candidate for a supernatural upgrade. The travelers aren't bringing scraps. They're bringing the robe, the ring, and the fatted calf. Your waiting season is officially, legally over. But we have to seal the deal. In the high courts of heaven, a contract is just paper until it's signed, and a decree is just words until it's stamped with the king's signet ring. To lock in this double portion, so that no devil, no jealous family member, and no spirit of reversal can ever steal it back, we must perform the act of sealing. There is a terrifying pattern where people get the breakthrough, they feel the relief, and then 3 months later, it evaporates. Why? Because they left the door unlocked? They operated on probation instead of permanence. Today, we are going to the Supreme Court to get your permanent decree. As it says in the book of Esther, Whatever is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's signet ring, no one can revoke. But here is the cost. The seal cannot be placed on the old you, the version of you that is addicted to the struggle, the one that identifies as a victim, the one that finds comfort in the chaos because it's all you've ever known. That version has to die today. We must have a funeral before we can have a coronation. Unless the grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces a massive harvest. I want you to take a moment of solemn silence. Visualize the old you, the one who was scared, the one who begged for crumbs, the one who was tired of being tired. Look at them. They survived so you could be here. Thank them. Then, watch them dissolve into light, fading into the hands of the Creator. You are now standing empty, stripped of the past, ready to be clothed in a new mantle. This mantle is heavy. It carries the weight of wealth, the responsibility of influence, and the power of a legacy. Are you ready to stop being the needy one and start being the provider? Are you ready to stop being the victim and start being the ruler? If your spirit is screaming yes, then position yourself to receive. Lift your hands, palms facing up, whether you're in your car or lying in bed. We are now activating the sevenfold seal of Jehovah. I am decreeing established laws over your timeline right now. First, I seal your mind. I command the static of anxiety to cease forever. You will have the mind of a visionary. You will receive strategies and solutions that will baffle the experts. Your mind is now a sanctuary of peace. It is sealed. Second, I seal your eyes. I command the scales of deception to fall. You will no longer see yourself as a grasshopper. You will see yourself as a giant slayer. You will recognize your destiny helpers the moment they walk into the room. Your vision is sealed. Third, I seal your ears. I block every frequency of gossip and negativity. You are now tuned to the frequency of heaven. When the Spirit whispers move, you will hear it clearly. Your hearing is sealed. Fourth, I seal your mouth. I break the curse of negative self-talk. Your words are now weapons of creation. When you speak, mountains will move. Your mouth is sealed. Fifth, I seal your heart. I pull out the arrows of betrayal from your past, the wounds from your parents, your exes, your false friends. I pour the healing balm of Gilead into the cracks. Your heart is sensitive, brave, and whole. It is sealed. Sixth, I seal your hands. I anoint your palms for wealth. I break the curse of slippery fingers where money comes in and slides out. Money will stick to you. You are a lender, not a borrower. Your hands are sealed. Seventh, I seal your feet. Everywhere the sole of your foot treads, you shall possess. I seal you against the wandering spirit. You will be at the right place, at the right time, with the right people. Your walk is sealed. The transaction is complete. The court is adjourned. The enemy has no legal standing to touch your harvest anymore. You are covered from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. Now, walk like a king. Walk like a queen. When you wake up tomorrow morning, do not look for the struggle. Look for the evidence of the favor we just released. I want you to cement this entire experience with a prophetic act of agreement. The number 999 is the number of completion, the perfect seal. I want you to type 999 in the comments right now. But as you type it, say this in your spirit: my past is buried, my present is covered, my future is sealed. Type it now. Lock it in. Watch how the universe rearranges itself around your new coordinates. You are chosen, you are loved, and you are finally, officially, home. I'll see you in the testimony section, because your story is just beginning.